Well, I have some potentially good news. The Pelosi Act is back on the table, and this time it could actually pass. In case you've been living under a rock for the last few years, you know that members of Congress blatantly, routinely, they basically trade off of insider trading information. These politicians, some of them come in with almost no net worth and then they exit worth 10, 15, 20 million dollars. Nancy Pelosi, almost $200 million. Well, 2 years ago, I announced that Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri had put forward the Pelosi Act in order to try to rein in these corrupt politicians. And I believe that this actually has an honest chance of passing. President Trump has brought this up. Even President Biden brought this up as something that was making members of Congress conflicted. Let me go ahead and roll this clip for you, and then we'll react to it together.
And I just think that this is such a simple proposition. The American people, when I go home and I say to folks, they ask me about stock trading, here's the thing that absolutely stuns them. They can't believe that it's legal already. They can't believe we can currently do it. Most members of the public think it's already banned. And when I say actually it's 100% legal, they say why? And there's no good answer to that question. We should be here to focus on the public's business, not private gain. We shouldn't be here day trading. We shouldn't be here focusing on our stock portfolios. We should be here doing what the American people sent us to do. And that's what this bill is about. With that, I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
All right. So I didn't know that most members of the United States, most citizens didn't know that members of Congress were cheating, enriching themselves, becoming multi-millionaires. Today, I have a special guest with me that has 20 plus years of experience researching this, doing stock trades. We're going to expose what's going on with members of Congress. Ross Givens, thank you so much for joining me again.
Hey, my pleasure, Stephen.
So I think that this could happen. A little bit of background for my audience. Ross Givens, 20 years trading on the stock market, former vice president at JP Morgan Chase, a leading authority on insider trading with members of Congress. You guys have done a lot to expose Nancy Pelosi. I believe if Congress called you in, you could easily put Pelosi in jail. And expose this information. What are your thoughts? What is this going to lie? Is the Pelosi Act going to be passed?
Well, I think it absolutely could. I don't think it's going to happen this year, but the name for it is perfect. I mean, it's an acronym like the others. It stands for Preventing Elected Leaders from Owning Securities and Investments Act, right? But obviously, it's pointed at Nancy Pelosi, and as you mentioned, the woman spent decades in office doing nothing but enriching herself. She's made $200 million from stock trade since 2008. A lot of them extremely well timed. In fact, I'm going to tell you about our most recent one, the stock that doubled the first month. I think I have the evidence to just about unequivocally prove she did this on inside information. So I'm going to share that with you today. And by the way, just for your viewers watching, if this is something, the other thing people don't realize, you said they don't realize they're doing this. People don't realize you can see this stuff. And while it is dirty and crooked and all those things, we can see when they're buying these stocks. So we are having a free training event we do every couple of months. It's actually coming up this Thursday, May the 8th at 3. So anybody wants to learn more about this, see how to find these trades, to follow along yourself to make money, click the link below that video. I'll send you all the information.
Okay, great. That's good to know. Okay, so if Senator Hawley and others are able to pass the Pelosi Act, does this stop them once and for all from using insider trading?
I don't think so. No, they'll just find some other loophole, and what'll happen if they do pass it, it won't be that one. It'll be some bastardized version of it they've put together with a little loophole. I mean, initially they passed the Stock Act in 2012, which they applauded as something to stop insider trading, but it didn't stop insider trading. All it required was for them to now report their trades. And it is a little tricky to find this stuff. We show people how on these training events, but and it's actually helped us because it's like, well, Pelosi's going to do what Pelosi does. At least now we can follow those trades. But even if they violate this Stock Act, Stephen, currently the penalty for doing so is a $200 fine, right? So it is not the most prohibitive. It's not the most. It doesn't do anything to deter it, right? But to be honest, I'm not really in a hurry for them to ban this stuff. We've made a lot of money following along with these trades, and all we're doing is just tracking the politicians, the insiders, following along with what they're doing. And so again, we've got that event coming up, but no, I think it could pass. I don't think it's going to pass right now.
Okay. So a $200 fine. I mean, I exposed on my channel about a month ago, they found out that the federal government was spending like $600 million on sushi. So what's a $200 fine when Nancy Pelosi and McCall and others, they can do options or they can buy a stock and flip it, and they can literally make $5 million in 30 days on insider trade. $200 is nothing.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, even if it were a big penalty, they're not going to prosecute them. I mean, you got to remember, these are the people who write the country's laws. So you've got to convince them to write a law to take away their honey hole. You got to convince them to write a law to put themselves in jail, which they're never going to do. And these are blatant violations. Let me give you an example. So Susie Lee is a Democratic member of the House of Representatives. And I'm not getting political. This happens on both sides of the aisle. But
yes,
Miss Lee, unlike Pelosi, is not an active investor. In fact, she's not bought any stock since 2022. And in last May, she goes out, Stephen, and buys shares of a company called Rheinmetall, which is a German arms manufacturer. So not buying a bunch of stocks, not betting on the market. She's buying one stock, and it's the only stock she's bought in 3 years. Well, a few months later, we learned why she bought that stock. Germany ramped up their military spending by billions of dollars. A lot of that money went straight to Rheinmetall. I sent you a chart if you can put that up. This is what that stock has done since she bought it. It's up 184% in less than 1 year.
So she makes no trades. She's not active like Nancy and Paul Pelosi every month. She makes one trade. It just happens to be the trade of the century, up 180+%.
Yeah, the one stock you buy in 3 years, right? Must be a coincidence, you know? And it also must be a coincidence that Susie Lee is on the House subcommittee on military construction, right? It's just so obvious and so blatant. It's like they're not even trying to hide this stuff because they just feel invincible.
So in about a 1 year time, to grow your money by 184% while banks are paying 1, 2, maybe 3%. That's crazy. How is this lady? And if she does get caught, you're telling me it's a $200 fine and a slap on the hand?
That's it, buddy. That's it. And listen, it's extremely common. I know this is, people don't hear about a lot of these, but this is not a one-off situation. Take a look at this graphic. These are the stock market returns of the top congressmen in 2024. And that's the annualized return from their stock portfolio. So they're not beating the market by 1 or 2%, Stephen. They are decimating even the best of the best of the best on Wall Street. I mean, look at this, 149% in a year. This is unheard of. And I've marked Warren Buffett's return last year to put that in context. Buffett's the best there's ever been. He's been doing this for 70 years. He's never made a 100% annual return for Berkshire Hathaway. Yet 7 members of Congress were able to do it the same year, placing trades from their cell phone in between committee meetings. I mean, it's just ludicrous. It is not possible to produce these kind of returns without using inside information. The only silver lining, as I said, we can see these trades. We can piggyback them ourselves. So I encourage people, come learn how to do this. It's a free event. I'll show you everything.
Yeah, I'm just looking at John Curtis, 43% return. That's the new senator from Utah. Gets in and suddenly becomes a master stock market trader. Come on.
Isn't that wild? Yeah, they all suddenly become great stock pickers when they enter Congress.
Yeah, it's amazing how much they get done for their own portfolio, but not for their voters. It's amazing how much they get done for illegal immigrants, but not for their own voters.
Right.
It's disgusting to me. Oh my gosh.
It is. Yeah.
I'm just looking at some of these. It's like Warren, like you said, Warren Buffett. One of the best known, I think Berkshire Hathaway for like 20 years averaged over 18%. Nothing compared to these members of Congress.
No, No. Yeah, it's wild. It's listen, it's not just politicians. People don't realize this. You can track corporate insiders too. We can see when CEOs and CFOs and other top executives are buying their company stock with their money, often right before these big market moving events. And again, it's all public information. Thanks to a little loophole, we can see this stuff. And I always tell people, like, look, I understand it makes you angry, but angry is not going to make you money. At least the little bit we can do is follow along and make a few bucks for ourselves.
Now, would you say that the information that you and your team are able to research, are you finding that there's just as good a trades in the public, like the CFO, the CEO, the CMO, and members of Congress? It basically, they know that something's coming down the pipe that's going to be good. You guys can see a flag go up and you go, wait a minute, this guy hasn't bought stock in his own company for 5 years. Suddenly he buys more than his annual salary. Something big is coming down the pipe.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, the corporate guys, believe it or not, they do even better than these politicians. I mean, nobody talks about this stuff because most of them are already pretty rich. But, yes, Congress knows some things. So they'll know that there's about to be a big defense contractor. They'll know that Germany's going to ramp up, like Miss Susie Lee here. But when you follow these executives, they know their company inside and out. They know exactly what that earnings number is going to be. They know exactly the day they're going to announce some new software or some new product. They know exactly how many cars they sold or widgets they sold and things like drug trials and stuff like that. So we've been doing this since 2017. Everything's tracked to the right. We've sent these out to our members. We've beat the market every single year. We made money in the bear market. We made 300% in 2020. Stephen, I'm not that good. I'm just following people who know something. But let me show you this Pelosi trade, because this one's really going to blow your mind. Because I think I got her, Stephen. Okay. Now, this is one of our most recent trades, and I hope somebody on the House Ethics Committee watches this, because Nancy Pelosi made a trade back in January on a company called Tempus AI. And this is the official transaction report. So, like I said, public information. You can see what stocks they're buying, when they buy them. Now, Nancy didn't just buy the stock. Oh, no. Miss Pelosi bought call options, which is a leverage bet. So it is a bet that this stock is going to make a big move very quickly, or else you lose all that money. So this is something you would only do if you were very confident it was about to go up. And Stephen, this thing went up. Okay. If you look at that chart, pull up that chart I just sent you.
Okay.
Tempus AI, which she bought right at the low, how lucky, went from $35 to $90 in a month. But tripling your money, that's not enough for Pelosi. Again, if you know something's coming, you're going to lever up. You're going to make as much as you possibly can. So she bought options. Now, this is where they were trading at the time, right here, about $15 a piece when she bought them. The next month, they're worth $70 a piece. She quadrupled her investment in 30 days.
Oh, my gosh.
That's big, but I think I connect her to it. So I did some digging on this one, right? And there was something about this trade. I don't know. It just felt different. So I looked into the backgrounds of all the people at Tempus AI, even the board members. And at first, none of them had a clear connection, but there is one. And her name is Lauren Silvas. Now, as you can see here in this article from Business Insider, she is the senior vice president of external affairs of the company. Her job, public policy and government affairs. Okay, so there's a little connection initially. Now, she's featured in this article here as one of the 34, and I quote, DC healthcare power players who shaped the rules of a $3.5 trillion industry. So I think it's safe to say she's pretty well connected on Capitol Hill, right? But it goes deeper. Now, earlier in her career, she was a partner at Sidley Austin LLP law firm. Now, this firm leans hard to the left, and their political donations reflect that. You can see some big ones here to the DNC, to Kamala Harris, Act Blue, state Democratic parties, the Gay and Lesbian Victory Fund. I'm sure it was a fun check to write. And even, of course, straight to our friend Nancy Pelosi. So her firm, of which she was a partner, donated millions to Democrats, Democrat causes, and that usually gets you some access. Now, after leaving the firm, she held 2 government positions before coming on to Tempus AI. First, as chief of staff at the FDA, and then as senior advisor at the Department of Health and Human Services. Now, as you know, both of these departments work very closely with Congress. She held top roles at both. She would have worked directly with Nancy Pelosi and other lawmakers to shape new legislation. And the cherry on top, do you know where the Department of Health and Human Services is housed?
No.
The HHS Region 9 headquarters is located in San Francisco, California, inside, and I'm not making this up, the Nancy Pelosi Federal Building.
Shut up.
So we have this woman, Lauren Silvas, one of the top healthcare power brokers in D.C., well-connected, who is a partner at a far-left law firm with connections to Pelosi. She worked closely with lawmakers at the FDA and HHS. Then she takes a vice president position at a multi-billion-dollar AI startup, despite having no tech experience, where she is in charge of government affairs. And Nancy Pelosi wants me to believe that she was not tipped off by this woman, that she did not tell her, hey, we're about to unveil our next generation Tempest One model, the one promising a generational leap in healthcare technology. We're supposed to believe Pelosi just so happened to place a six-figure, highly leveraged, time-sensitive bet the same week this information happened to go public. Give me a break. I can't draw any other conclusion from this.
Yeah, my first thought, just from what you shared with me, is this lady knows more about Nancy Pelosi than she knows about AI. And you know what else is weird? They impeached President Trump with less evidence than what you've just shown me right here.
Sure.
This is crazy. I'm like blown away by this.
And no one's making these connections. You know, it's nobody's spending the time to do it. We all know it's happening, but it's, again, you can get mad, you can get even, but these are the connections these people have. And you know, short of a recorded phone call between the two of them telling her to buy the stock, I don't know what more evidence you could find.
Yeah, like we need like a Watergate moment where it's caught on, you know, tape recorder or something like that. Okay, so you're going to show people in the training how to piggyback members of Congress, but also how to piggyback the C-level executives at publicly traded companies. Is that right?
Yeah, we just kind of lay it all out for them. We've been doing this for a while. I think we're pretty good at it. And you know, the politicians obviously makes a lot of sense for examples like this. But as I said, these C-suite guys are even better, and they're going to specialize in their company. So you know, when you've got like, for example, we bought a little startup, like a 40-cent pharmaceutical stock a year ago that was in the middle of stage 2 drug trials, because suddenly in 1 week, 11 executives bought the stock in a week. I mean, the CEO's getting in, the CFO, the VP, the board, all of them piling in. The stock went up 340% the next 4 months. And they just have specialized information about their company. So, you know, if you're the CFO of a bank, you know exactly what the earnings are going to be. If you're the pharmaceutical executive, you know how the drug trial results are going, or if you're about to get FDA approval. So all this is just hugely valuable information. And when it comes to, and when that information becomes public, you know, the stock's almost guaranteed to shoot up. And so despite all that, these people, just like the politicians, are free to buy and sell their own company stock with their own money, essentially without restriction. But, you know, the most important part is the fact that we can see their trades. We can see exactly what these insiders are buying in their own accounts with their own money, pretty much in real time. And we've made a lot of money by following along. So all this information is out there. It's all free. Use it, right? If you know where to look, they're essentially feeding you these giant, valuable inside tips. And so that's why we hold these free training events. And I appreciate you mentioning it, to show people how to use this for themselves, for their own advantage. And that's what we're going to be doing this coming Thursday.
Okay, so it's Thursday, May 8th at what time?
3:00 p.m. Eastern. And the event is online, by the way. So just click the link below. You can register. Anybody can come. Doesn't cost a dime, and I'll show you everything.
Okay, and then I'll make sure to put that link down below. That's huge. Okay, one last question here is the companies that you guys track. You'll be able to show them okay, here's the company, here's the ticker symbol, here's why we think that this is about to move. Look at what the CFO, the CMO, the CEO, you guys, you'll put all that together in like a report.
That's right. Yeah. So as for our members, yes, we send them, and we only find 3 or 4 of these every month that are just, no brainers, where they're all piling in. Some guys putting 3 times his annual salary. No one's bought for 4 years, and now 8 of them bought last week. And there's this big event coming up, right? So they tend to be pretty obvious. But yeah, we share all that with them. And in the event this coming Thursday, I'm going to show them where these online databases are, how to find this information. I'll show you dozens of examples of stocks we've bought and made money with, and what they all have in common. So, there's a slight learning curve. The idea is the idea is very simple. It's very obvious. But we show you how to do the execution. And look, we've seen members make hundreds of thousands of dollars following this stuff. And I just think it's the biggest advantage available to everyday investors. And look, I forgot to even mention, everyone who registers, we're going to send you our most recent trade. So when you register for this, you're going to get, I don't know if it comes over text or email, but you'll get our full report on our most recent pick. So you can see all this information that's out there, what's available to you, the stock, the ticker, who's buying. And I think you'll be amazed at what's there. So even if you can't come, just click, get that, and we'll send it over to you.
Well, it's kind of like Doge, you follow the money. Doge is finding the corruption. You guys follow the money. You're finding, oh, wait a minute. This CEO, this guy's not putting a bunch of money into a company he thinks is about to fail or get bad news.
That's it.
I just think it's like the advantage of being able to look around the corner, it's like, it's so powerful. So, well, Ross, thank you. That's really incredible what you guys have put together on Nancy Pelosi. I'm actually going to share this video with Tim Burchett and some of the other members of Congress that come on, because I've been asking them, is this going to get passed? They say that they want to. There's an appetite to get it done, whether it will get done or not. But like you said, there's a lot of money to be made. If you can't get back at them, you might as well just see what they're doing and take advantage of that. So, all right, I know you've got to go. Thank you for coming on this weekend. I'll put those links down below. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend.
Thanks, Stephen. Always good to talk to you.